when you look forward, maybe 6 months, a year going forward, how do you think brands will change? When you look at the need to be agile, and the need to be proactive in regard to engaging customers, how can brands do that, especially with regard to technology and technology partners? They're so important now to make sure the technology stacks work and they're seamless and they give you the right insight. How do you do that in an effective manner?
So certainly, I think from a technology perspective, you need to be nimble and have a company that their roadmap is looking ahead, far down the road in terms of emerging technologies that are out there, opportunities for partnerships and integrating with, new types of technology that may come aboard. But I think that the crux of all of it is continually reassessing your program. So, loyalty gets associated, programmatic loyalty, all the time with points. And at a time that really served, customers well a long time ago. Let's say, the early airline models, that was something that really stuck and made sense. But the companies that are continually evolving and looking at that continue to stay ahead. When you're not looking at your messaging and your features and your benefits, or even more than that, your program economics, your value proposition, that is a program that is at risk. So we advise people to take an approach from a strategy and technology perspective of constant reassessment, so that you don't find yourself caught on your heels when those transitions happen in the industry.
I think the digital acceleration that we've seen over the last 18 months probably isn't going to slow down. And we've essentially blown the door wide open for consumers to try new brands and new ways of interacting. Like we've talked about, buy online, pick up in store, curbside pickup, things like that. So being able to recognize shifts in behavior patterns and acting quickly is going to be critical. Things like predictive analytics are going to greatly help brands to understand things like whether a customer is at risk to disengage and being able to get out ahead of that. And it's going to be important to show customers that you are listening and responding to the changes in their preferences and needs. Yeah. And this really requires to have technology partners who give you the opportunity to be nimble and agile. If something's not working across your marketing campaigns, you can't wait 2 weeks to get the right analytics to come to that conclusion. If there are promotions within your loyalty program that are going to become more of a liability than a revenue driver, you need to know that ideally before launching it, but recognizing that and having the flexibility to do something about it quickly is what is going to allow brands to thrive.
Yeah, I think one of the trends for agility that brands will have to make is becoming more convenient. As consumers, we're kind of spoiled now in these times with the speed of logistics, the Amazon, et cetera. And we need to keep that instant gratification with the shopping experience that brands will provide, whether that is smaller formats, kiosks, et cetera. But more locations, less traffic, overall more convenient. I think that with the potential for these touch points of being remote or transient, so to speak, technology partners are able to work with the POS data that is provided in a quicker and again, more relevant manner. We'll have strategies that are the ones that are most sought after moving forward.
One thing I say is leverage on technology partners more and more is where the buy versus build mantra comes in, and a lot more of the SaaS is what I always used to talk about is you build where there is something that you are truly excellent at and you want to own that is yours. But the rest is commoditized and you want to lean on others for that agility. People that are SaaS providers have to constantly, like ourselves, have to constantly reevaluate the market that you just mentioned. Understand what those changes are. Be steeped in everything that could affect your area and then build that into our product. And that's part of our R&D, our process that companies like us have to do. And when you purchase a company that has that in their DNA, then by default, you're gaining that. So that agility is through the partnership and understand that the company has a good roadmap, spends a lot of time and energy understanding their area for you on your behalf. So you don't have to understand all that, right? You understand the areas that are key to your differentiation in the market, and that's where you're trying to come up with the agility, but then using the technology partner for that. And then to that end as well, making sure that they're providing you the tools through their technology to be agile yourself, to apply changes real time, to be able to make modifications as the customer amends. I mean, just think of last year. None of us could predict what was happening. No, there was no forethought to that. So the companies that were out there that at least were constantly looking at market trends, what's happening, and had systems that could react very quickly won the race, right? Those that were more stoic in their methodologies, not looking forward, they were laggards in that process. And some of them still haven't caught up to the modifications. So to me, your point of agility has to be looking forward, future, using your investment in technology partners to have them do that on your behalf and for you, but also making sure that they have the technology that you can interact with at speed when those needs arise, so that you're not having to go back to the well of a stoic, monolithic platform approach. And that's how things have changed as well, along with customer experiences, those kind of technology architectures and how you operate with them. It's part of the conversation that has to be had.
I think the most important thing for brands moving forward is to focus on what builds a relationship between themselves and their customers. Meaningful connections potentially could mean building a pipeline for two-way communication. The technology needs to allow program members to have a voice into the brand as part of their program status and the overall value proposition. And also, I think as data becomes harder to capture, especially in via second and third party sources, it's incumbent upon the tech providers to enable better integrations, which link unique IDs from multiple data sources to ensure a full 360-degree understanding of the customer. So the focus really should be on using this customer data to grow the relationships, not just letting it sit there unused or used in the wrong ways.
I think the biggest thing is agility. When we looked at the last 18 months, we had to be flexible and agile, and we sort of, fly by the seat of our pants. But I think there are brand marketers that recognize that being agile is actually an advantage. You will now be ready for anything that comes our way, and the market is changing so quickly. So being able to be agile is important. And in the technology world, we're an agile, development house, and so we're moving on a 2-week sprint. We don't build out a 12-month roadmap because things do change. We have a high-level roadmap, but we really focus on our ability to be flexible. And I think marketers are seeing the advantage of that. So no longer planning out, every tactic for 12 months. You're going to plan out your strategy, but then you're going to be able to quarter by quarter be able to plan out your tactics. And again, that agility will allow you to listen to your consumers and customers and have that feedback loop and make changes to both your messaging, make changes to your products, and again, in a really flexible world. I think this just also helps ensure success of campaigns. If you plan out a new product launch or a new service launch 12 or 18 months in advance, the market can be completely different and your messaging can be off. So again, just being able to listen to the market and gain that real-time data, I think is so important. So having a feedback loop and a way to listen to your customers when you're being agile is critical. And again, that is exactly what we do in the technology world. So I think being an agile marketer and being able to put that on your resume is really important, because that is the current world that we're in.